Hey everyone, welcome to the second part of the fourth meeting activity that we're doing for this quarter. In this part, we're going to continue playing games with students, and we're also going to practice more sort of combinatorial reasoning and some more spatial reasoning with these shapes. Okay, so let's get started. In this part, we're going to be trying to fill in these two rectangular swimming pools simultaneously. And we want to use 12 pentominoes. A pentomino is one of these shapes down here. And it's called a pentomino because each of these shapes has 5 squares. So these are all the 5 square shapes that are connected that you can make. And so we want to use these shapes to fill in this swimming pool without repeating any. So we don't want to just use the eye, a bunch of times. That doesn't work. We want to use a bunch of different shapes. Okay, now this can be a little challenging, but really work with your students, and if you can, get a manipulative and try to manipulate things onto this piece of paper, because that'll make it a lot easier to see kind of what's going on, what's going to fit, because you don't want any gaps, and you don't want any overlaps, right? And pro tip, you can rotate and you can reflect these pieces. That's totally fine. And sometimes you really need to make something fit, right? So I've got an example down here of one that I did. So I used the F, I, P, and U for the right side and the L, N, and V for the left side. So notice I'm not repeating any pieces, and I filled them in so that there's no gaps and there's no overlaps. And so this is one possible solution. So students might come up with solutions, and you can ask, cool, is that the only one? Can you find another? Hint, there are, I think, 17 different solutions to this particular puzzle. So this is a really good activity to start really encouraging some of the spatial reasoning and really work with these shapes and try to figure out what's going on. And you can even look at this thing and say, oh, automatically I can see a second solution. If I were to take this and I were to chop my eye off and move it to this side so that this thing is now, this block, and I were to flip them, automatically I have another solution to this puzzle. So that's cool. You could talk about that. There's lots of different ways to interpret this. There's lots of different avenues to explore and to encourage sort of the more high-minded and really creative thinking.